Would you like to know the guaranteed secrets to get amazing results with a GoPro? Have you used an action camera before and not got the shot that you've expected to get? Well, watch this video. We interview Jay Reale to get the top tips on how to get that amazing barrel shot. We've worked so hard to achieve it with Bodyboard Holidays, and now we're going to share the secrets with you. Okay, here I am with Jay Reale. We're on location in El Salvador, second part of our Central America trip. So we've just been to Costa Rica, had an amazing trip over there. Now we're over in El Salvador, a couple of days in, got a great bunch of guests, we've scored some really fun waves. And I'm here today to talk with Jay about getting great water photography.
Oh man, it's a topic that can make or break a professional bodyboarder's career or surfer's career, and there's an art to it. It's not just, hey, let's go out and catch waves and the guy's going to take pictures. You have to work with the guy.
Definitely.
Or girl.
100% agree. And so as I was growing up, I'd be sort of thumbing through Bodyboarding magazine as I was growing up, and I'd always see shots of you and Ben Severson and Mike Stewart and all the other pros pulling into barrels. And obviously back in those days, you'd have photographers with big cameras in big housings going, trying to swim with these massive things, and you trying to avoid getting hit by them and getting all your stickers in, and it was a true art form. And nobody nailed it better than you, and you've told me stories of you having stickers all over your, rash vest, and I remember you had them written on your flippers, and
right.
You're trying to get those photo incentives when you're sponsored. That's how you'd get paid to get the logos in the photo. So Jay has mastered this, and it's been a pleasure for me working with him on Bodyboard Holidays to try and get great shots for our promotion and his promotion. So we do it all the time. And I've taken the role of the photographer, and I'm not classically trained as a photographer, but I just love getting in the pit, taking photos. And I've previously used a GoPro, now I'm using a DJI camera. And yeah, let's talk through it then, Jay. So what sort of waves are best? Let's start there.
Yeah, so for bodyboards, to get the absolutely classic barrel shot, honestly, closeout shore break is the easiest stuff to ride to get those epic photos. And it's like shooting fish in a barrel. But the thing is, with surf photography, especially when you're working with a photographer in the water, there is a technique to it. As I said earlier, it's not just go out and catch waves and hope you get shots. There's multiple factors you have to consider. Number one, first and foremost, to get the best shots is lighting and color, right? So you want the most vivid colors with the best lighting. That means, obviously, that a sunny day is going to be the best day to do this. Optimal conditions, you want a bright wetsuit or rash guard, something that's going to pop and contrast with the watercolor. And you want front lighting. What does that mean? That means as you're riding the wave, sometimes the sun is going to be right in your eyes. You don't want to be riding the opposite direction from the sun, because it's going to be what we call backlit. You're going to be a silhouette. You want to ride towards the sun. So the other part of this is positioning. This is really critical, especially in a shore break environment. You want to position yourself slightly down the line from where the photographer is. So if you're going to go on a right-hand wave, you want the photographer to be, depends on the waves, how big it is and how fast it's breaking, but you want to be sort of at a diagonal position to the photographer who's in the impact zone, so that when you take off on the wave and bottom turn, you're actually riding toward them. And with today's modern little action cameras, they have wide angle lenses, so you cannot be too far from them. You need to be literally optimal scenarios within 6 feet of the person, or about, I don't know, 1.5 meters or so. So you need to be very close to the photographer to get the really crisp, ideal shot. And you want to be clean when you're riding the wave. And what I mean by that is, if, again, we're in a closeout shore break scenario, you want to make your drop and your bottom turn with your elbow tucked in, your shoulder tucked in slightly, and your back arched up if you're riding in the prone position, so that it's nice and clean. There's no spray coming off your inside rail, not a drop of water out of place, and it just makes for the epic photo with that front lighting. And then the photographer has to be in the right spot. Talk about your job in this whole
Definitely. Well, that's
dance, if you will.
Yeah, that was really well covered, and that is the dream when people do that, because it makes my role way easier. Now, just to kind of make it clear why we've got such passion to do this is we get so many guests coming on Bodyboard Holidays that often don't want to say, I really want to get some great photos of me, because we've all got this sort of modesty, or we don't want to be the person that's saying that, but we know that that's what people want. I want it, Jay wants it, everybody that comes on a trip really wants it, even if they're not going to say it. So we make it a massive part of what we do, getting great photos, and so educating guests to be able to do what Jay's doing for a few rides, so that me or the other Bodyboard Holidays team can get in the barrel with them and get these shots. We do it over and over again. Everybody can do it, It's just concentrating on it. But from my side of things, communication is really important, so it doesn't happen by chance. So if I see Jay paddling, out back, he's hanging out, he's waiting for waves, he might be chatting to somebody, and I'll shout, Jay, set coming, come right. And then I'll sort of navigate him towards me, because I can often have a better view than him from where I'm positioned, because I might be at an angle so I can see the incoming waves. And then from there, I know Jay's going to know what to do, because he's going to do all those things that I've just talked about. But for me, I need to make sure that a few things happen all at once. First of all, obviously the camera's on the right mode. And these cameras switch mode quite regularly, because water splashes the touch screen. If you haven't got the touch screen locked, it changes mode, and that's super frustrating. I prefer shooting stills, or sometimes I shoot video. So I want to make sure that it's on burst mode if I'm shooting stills. And if I'm shooting video, I want to make sure that it's on 4K 60. That's what I like to shoot in. It's about as technical as I get with cameras, but that's important. Then I want to make sure that the all-important water droplets aren't on the lens.
And how do you do that, Rob?
Well, there's a few schools of thought. One school of thought, my colleague Matt Hawkin believes this one works the best, is like getting a potato, cut in half and rubbing it on the lens, and the starch keeps the water off. I find with the GoPro, dunking it in the water just before, say, you're riding towards me, so plunge it under the water, then bring it up, pulls the water off, and that works really well. With the DJI camera, I find that licking it, putting saliva on the lens works the best. So really quickly lick it, then I hold my hand in front of it to make sure I can see there's no water when I'm looking through the camera screen, to make sure there's no water on the lens. And then I'm going to try and keep that screen with no water on it as I get into the barrel, which is no mean feat, because you're dealing with lots of spray. And then it's holding that camera in position and trying to get as close as comfortably possible to the rider, keeping them center of the frame, and then being super aware of the light. Now, if the light is on my back, so it's making it front lit, it's on your face but on my back, then we're living the dream. But if the light is behind you, so it's backlit, I need you to pull into the barrel before I start shooting, because then I'm benefiting from the lip coming through, the sun coming through the lip, as I did with that shot that I got of Alex Clark, who works with us the other day, which went up here on the screen. And then it kind of lights up the barrel and gives it that kind of, what I always recognize as like the afternoon padang kind of vibe. You know what I mean? That kind of glowed barrel. So yeah, there's a lot going on. You've obviously got to hold on to the camera. I don't like wearing the leash. I just have it so that I can switch hands quickly. You've got to make sure you press a button on and off. That obviously can not happen. That's happened to me plenty of times. And then you need to make sure that you're then getting back into position for the next one, because it's all, it's nothing and then everything. There's like no sets. You're chilling, chatting, maybe not concentrating. And then a set comes and you'll have 4 waves and you've got to be swimming around trying to get in place. I personally prefer to use my bodyboard. I like to get around the lineup quickly on that, which can mean I've got to get my bodyboard out of the way of the rider as well. And yeah, it's super fun.
Well, there's a lot to it here, and a lot of people don't realize is you have to have a really intimate knowledge of waves, and the reason being because you're trying to swim carrying a camera with swim fins on your feet and time your position exactly to link up with the rider while avoiding having the lip land on your head. All of this going on at once while you're trying to frame it, get it in the right position inside the barrel. And then you got to think, as you pull through the wave and the rider passes you, there's probably another one right behind it that wants to drive you into the bottom. So yeah, I mean, a lot of the best surf photographers ever were bodyboarders. We look back in history, there's Jeff Flint, and you got Scott Eichner, and you know Todd, oh my gosh, little Todd.
Yeah.
Gosh,
Tim Jones?
sorry. Yeah, Tim Jones.
Yeah.
The list goes on and on. Some of the best photographers ever in the surfing and bodyboarding world.
Yeah.
We're bodyboarders.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
You can see why, because we're used to being in the pit, aren't we?
Yeah.
But I would say, you know, from my experience, shooting bodyboarding is way more tiring than bodyboarding. Yeah.
I believe it.
And the reason for that is because you're always in the impact zone and you're always concentrating. So when I've got a group of bodyboarders on Bodyboard Holidays trips, I'm always scanning where they are to try and find the opportunities, always trying to think of who I've got shots of and who I need to get shots of so that everyone gets a fair crack of the whip. And I'm also never really relaxing, do you know what I mean? It's when you're shooting photography, you realize how much the bodyboarders sit and chat. You know, and
right?
They go off duty, they go off the boil. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I
like,
could
hey,
see that.
Hey.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Pay attention.
Yeah.
I'm waiting over here.
Yeah. See, there's a set camera, and they're like deep in conversation, not even facing the lineup a lot of the time. You know, so yeah, it's your job to keep everybody, and it's like trying to be motivational without being a sergeant major, and I know that I am a sergeant major sometimes because I can see opportunities.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But it's like trying to motivate people to get in, but. No doubt, me and Maeve and Joao and the other Bodyboard Holidays instructors have got some amazing shots of bodyboarders that would never have got those shots.
Yes.
And we all want that picture on our lounge wall, or we all want that Instagram post, or we all want our screensaver, but we all want something to show the kids, or we all want something to get a sponsor. You know?
Yeah.
You know, Rusty is on our trip. I'm trying to get some amazing footage of him because he's got, you know, various such as sponsorship responsibilities. So yeah, it's like it's a serious business. I take it seriously.
Yeah, well, this morning here in El Salvador, we were doing the review of the video footage and the pictures and stuff that you shot, and a couple of the riders on the trip had some absolutely amazing photos that they could never imagine getting otherwise, and now they're going to have those memories that they're going to take home with them. It's always going to remind them of maybe that it could potentially be the best barrel they've ever had in their life. Yeah. So, you know, the standard obviously is going to be different for everyone as to what they consider a good photo of themselves, but it's so great to see people on the Bodyboard Holidays trip who are kind of new to the whole water photography thing see a shot up on the screen of themselves and just be overjoyed. And, you know, it's like that's preserving one of the best memories I've ever had in my bodyboarding life.
Yeah.
For a lot of these people.
Yeah.
I love that.
I didn't even think about this until you just said it, but this morning, Renee, one of our guests from California, she actually got her first proper barrel, having come on this trip last year and like had, you know, we did a video about how she was overcoming her fears, which you can see here. And then today she really overcame her fears to the point where she took, you know, the bull by the horns, pulled into a barrel. I was there in the spot, got the barrel, amazing moment. She came up, and then I got a video of her ultimate elation, which we'll put on this video in a minute, and you can check it out. You know, she actually said that's the best wave of my life.
That's great.
So it's very fulfilling from my point of view, and it's like these magical moments. Amazing. That was so insane. Well done. How was the view in there?
Incredible! Because I've never seen anything like that before. That is like the most exhilarating thing.
Yeah. Brilliant. Hopefully these top tips will help you guys get that water shot. You don't have to be on a Bodyboard Holidays. I'd love you to be, but just get out there in the water. It's so much fun. You know, if you bodyboard, give it a go. Get a GoPro, get a DJI camera, get in the water, shoot your mates, take it in turns. You know, you'll be blown away, and that footage really helps you improve. You know, you can see that you're, oh wow, I'm digging my shoulder into the wave face. That's why I'm not making barrels, you know.
For sure.
You know, we haven't talked about the aspect of being able to review that footage to help you improve, which is the main reason that we do it, other than the fact that we want to preserve those memories. So thank you very much for watching. Unless you've got anything else to add, Jay?
I think you're spot on. You know, you mentioned learning from the footage and the pictures. It's a great learning tool. Get your buddy out there with you, and you can both shoot each other catching epic waves.
Thank you. And now that dog's barking, it's a good time to wrap up.
Perfect.
Cheers,
Thanks,
Jay.
man. Thank you, Rob.
Cheers.